Hello, and welcome to the Straight to the Source podcast. I'm Tanya Barr.
And I'm Lucy Allen, and we're looking forward to taking you straight to the source of the people driving our food and hospitality industry forward.
This episode is proudly brought to you by the team at Seaway Logistics, local experts in global trade. Luca Ciano is the guy behind one of Australia's most recognizable pasta sauce brands. He's a food producer whose products now sit on the shelves across Australia and in markets throughout Asia. He's also a two-time cookbook author, TV chef, and a global ambassador for Parmigiano, Reggiano, and Prosciutto di Parma. In this episode, Luca gets real about the hustle, a chef's ego, and fatherhood. Have a listen. Well, Luca, welcome to the Straight to the Source podcast.
Finally we made it, Tanya. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and every time I look up, you're in a different country. So
yes,
it's
I am.
so nice that you're back in Australia and you're sitting here with us on the famous green
Sure.
couch.
For 48 hours or 24 hours, but yeah, I'm here, relaxed. I'm so glad we get to do this because we talked about it since the inception of the show.
Exactly.
So very, very happy, and thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Our absolute pleasure. And so what I'd like to do is start with what's happening in your life today. What is going on?
How long have we got, Tanya?
We've got plenty of time.
Look, I'll try to summarize it, obviously, for people that know me already, hopefully few that know me while watching. Obviously, the product range has just turned 10 years old.
Okay.
That's probably what keeps me busy 24/7. Like, it's up to me. If I want to work until midnight, until 1 a.m. the following day, I can.
Now, when you say product range, are you talking about your line of condiments and your brand?
Correct. So we're talking
and your retail brand.
See, the retail brand that I'm wearing on my sleeves. So we turned 10 years old last year. We're talking about the big bash that you missed out on last November.
Mm-hmm.
Started with 4 pasta sauces as why not? Let's make the best pasta sauce on the planet. It was very ego-driven. It wasn't even the idea, let's build a business. It was like, I want to have the 4 most amazing pasta sauces that people can't even make at home. So I was very arrogant, and I believe that translated in flavor profile, and we've had a decent level of success. So 10 years after, we now sell across all Australia, and as far as 4 Asian countries, and I'm not going to jinx it, but there's 2 more that we're just about to close the deal. So it has become a 24/7, like it's nonstop. It's a little monster.
So this little monster, you're producing everything in Australia and you're exporting?
Yes, we pretty much, beside my Christmas panettone, which I still believe,
import.
Yeah, that we import from Italy at Christmas. We took a bit of a gamble with our dry pasta. Like, it took like 6 years of searching what we could have done in Australia, because we got the most amazing durum wheat growing in northern New South Wales. A lot of people don't really know. So within Italy, North America, Canada, and northern New South Wales, in the Golden Triangle, as they call it, we have some of the most amazing durum wheat to make dry pasta. But what people have bypassed in this country for too long, beside the massive manufacture, is the technology that takes to make a great quality pasta. It's not just the durum wheat. So I'll stop there because I can go on forever. But going back to your question, dry pasta, only 4 lines from Italy, Christmas panettone, everything else from the fresh pasta, the salad dressing, the pasta sauces, the jam, and whatever else I've got going on in these days, it's all locally made. Proudly supporting Australian producer. I am a producer. Nothing wrong with what we grow in this country. People still believe that you have to get it from somewhere else. I disagree with that. There's only certain key ingredients that I still believe that's, Mother Earth has blessed specific areas with a better soil, better temperature, better climate for it. But other than that, in these days, I really don't think we're second to none in this country in what we can grow and achieve and produce.
So under your brand, you have fresh pasta and dried pasta. And
Correct.
What you're saying is you import the dried pasta and
Correct.
you package that under your label.
Yes, indeed. So
Okay.
it's brutally called a private label. So I don't get it. It's kind of, if I had $1 for every time people say, oh, do you have your dry pasta? I would be a millionaire. Now we do have the dry pasta, and we're obviously not making millions out of it. It's such a tough situation, because obviously I wanted to bring in amongst one of the best pasta that money can buy, but I don't want to price it like the price of an arm and a leg. I want people, I've seen other chefs presenting different style of pasta, and the top tier is always presented as the special occasion, and can bugger that. Like it's every freaking day. Life is too short to eat cheap pasta or to drink shit coffee or shit wine. Always the best within reason, within you can afford. But yeah, save money on some other drug of choice of yours. But when it comes to food, mate, you got to go and spend the money. And I like to believe that value for money, everything we do, it's top notch, because I'm so conscious into the business game of, my little margin, the distributor margin, the retailer margin.
Everybody has a cut.
So I know everybody's got to make what they're meant to make, but the retailer doesn't give a shit. Like, they need to make their 40, 50, 70% GP. So if you work backwards from my retail price and you take that off, the distributor, doesn't matter how much they love me, and they all love me, they're all big partners of mine, good friend of mine, but they have a very, very challenging job ahead, so they need to have that percentage to make it sustainable. So if you work back from the retail price, whatever there is left from the production to the in between, that's what Luca makes. And to put in perspective, I'm just about to pull a trigger on the second ever price increase, which I've been wearing for the last 6 months, astronomical, that we caught because the tomato prices increased, the manufacturing cost. But I'm always conscious of the consumer. That translate onto them trying to buy it. And the idea that, sure, allow me to be arrogant, I believe I got the best pasta sauce in the market, but it's a pasta sauce. It's not caviar, it's not champagne, you know what I mean? It's how much do I think people will be happy and ready to buy that product at that price. So that's what really makes it really challenging.
Well, when you started out 10 years ago, I remember your first stand at the farmers market. And what role did farmers markets play in you getting your brand out there, getting feedback, getting brand recognition?
Big time. You know my past, Tanya. So I came from corporate chef role and I worked for very big companies. So the minds, I was starting as, like I said, a bit out of ego. I wanted to do something different, but I had a bit of a business mindset of what it had to take to get it to people. And one thing I've learned also as a chef in 35 years, you got to get the bloody product in people's mouth. Simple as that. So to go and justify why back then we were the $12 pasta sauce against okay pasta sauces at $4 or $5 and shit pasta sauces at $2 or $3, I need to explain it to you. And I want to explain it to you because you might think that I'm, buying a Ferrari out of this, which we're not. We're actually struggling just to make a buck out of it because I really want to get the best ingredients. We still manufacture the same way that we did 10 years ago. We do 150 kilo batches. It's like a chef sort of having a couple of bread pans and going for it. We are able to really reproduce the same technique or styles of cooking that you would do at home or into a professional kitchen. And we brought that to market. And then the next step, after you're happy with how good it tastes, how the hell are you going to get it to market? So farmers market is great. People come and try it. You can look in their face. In a restaurant, you can't, right? You're working in the kitchen. You can't, you rely on the waiter to tell you they liked it or no. You look at the plate or, sometimes people are just polite, say, yeah, I enjoyed it, but not as much. So look at their face and get their feedback. And I guess it's been a great learning curve. Number one, because the sales don't lie. But number two, you can generally get all the best of the positive and the best of the negative.
So how did you transition from a restaurant chef to a producer? At the moment, you're a book author, you're a producer, you're a television chef, you have a restaurant chef background. You've been cooking for 35 years.
Yeah.
You're also running these amazing food tours across Italy. So you've got your hands, like you said.
Yeah, I do. When I hear it from somebody else, there's a hell of a lot happening. Look, I like to say right place, right time. But sadly, let me put the real reason, and I think what it is, because the industry is very hard. It's very tough. Takes a toll on your body, especially on your mind. And I was reasonably young back then. I was in my 30s. I had my very last big chef job. I was the head chef. Can we name places that okay?
Yeah.
At the Westin in Sydney. And I remember I had like a team of, 36, 38. Out of those 36, 38, 4 to 6 were real chefs. They wanted to be chefs. The rest were here just to get visas or trying to fill in time. My job would consist of rocking up at 5:30 in the morning, making sure that breakfast was going okay, and I wasn't going home until almost midnight every night. Numbers, meetings, budget, food costs, all that passion that we all fall in love with this industry is slowly erased by the time you get to your 30s or mid-30s when you get some serious big roles and you realize that, as it should be, it's a money-making business. It's not just for fun.
And some chefs thrive on it.
100%.
And they love that position.
You need to be a manager, without a doubt. You need to be a great chef. I believe you need them both to be successful. You can't be just a great manager serving shit food and the other way around. Because, if I had a penny for every person that was a great cook and filled with a restaurant, I'm sure you have a lot of great chef friends that unfortunately didn't do well by managing a restaurant or whatnot. So the industry is quite brutal. And I was coming out of that experience after a few too many experiences of me still believing in a dream to become God knows what, the next big chef or this and that, and really doing it for the passion of it. And then it was an accident. Maybe I'll save the accident because I don't want to get in trouble with the old days. But somebody got hurt badly. And they used to make us sign stuff off after the 8 hours where they were still working behind the scene for many, many hours. And that threw me out. And
that did not sit well with you.
No, from being the most beloved head chef they've ever had, I became number one enemy because I was supporting my team and not the corporation. And I'm not one of those taking it to the streets or whatever, but I'm like, nah, this is messed up. Like, I got to have the boys back. I have to. So that put me in
Did you feel that like a boundary had been crossed?
Oh, big time. Well, that could have been me years and years before. I just happened to be the guy. First of all, I wasn't happy with the system to have them to sign their timesheet after 8 hours if they're working for 12. And, and it comes from somebody that has worked most of his life without getting paid in top places to learn the craft.
You're one of the hardest working humans I know, man.
Thanks, darling. And when I was in hotels and restaurants, it used to be the same. I remember in London in my younger days, we had a butcher back in the days, right? A butcher doing, the hotel was 670 rooms, functions up to 5,000 or whatnot. And John the Butcher, lovely Irishman, never forget John the Butcher. It was a hard man to crack because you wanted to go and check it out and would tell you to fuck off, like get out of my kitchen, being his co-larder went downstairs. I remember in B1, B2, he was doing all this prep. And back then I would have been in my 20s, maybe not even.
So let's back up a little bit, Luca. So were you born in Australia or were you born in Italy?
No, born in Italy, born and raised in Italy.
Where?
Milan. Milano, I still like to say it's home, even though at the age of 48, I spent 30 years of my life chasing God knows what. Luckily, still in touch very much with Italy because luckily out of most of the travels when I was young was Europe, mainly London. So it never really felt like I left. I left, but 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year, you jump on it's like Sydney to Melbourne, right? I do it in Australia these days for business 20 times a year, something like that back in the days. At the age of 21, my executive chef in London mentioned something about Bermuda. And he worked there as a youngster, and I just lost my mind. I'm like, fucking hell, like, what am I doing?
The Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, why don't we? And I sort of had a chat with him, and he looked at me like, what's stopping you? And in my head, I'm like, well, like I'm only an hour flight away. And like, mate, if you're gone, you're gone. Like, it's a longer flight. These stupid things are so tiny. But it had such a big impact. I don't think I slept the next 2 days thinking about it's only a long flight. He showed me pictures a few days after. And keep in mind, I always looked at, in my younger days coming up in a kitchen, you generally bow down to the executive chef because back then an executive chef would have to work his ass off to get to that position. Now you're runner-up from a TV show and all of a sudden you're running big venues and stuff like that. Back in those days, obviously, you had to really go up the hard way. So I used to really look at this guy like he was Superman and he like a dad type of thing, And I was looking at all his stuff and then kind of long story short, I don't even know how, I should not remember, but I heard somebody was looking for chefs in Bermuda. Literally a month after, I checked the whole thing out and I went as far as applying. I got the job. And the funniest things happened that I actually landed this job in this relay chateau where he used to work that time, 20, 30 years before me, something like that.
So did you come home to your mom and say, I'm going to head to Bermuda?
I don't even think I went home, actually. I think I would have been planning in a way that I either went or I would have gone home maybe to change some gear from hoodies and gloves and beanies for the UK to go into Bermuda. I don't remember that transaction, but I remember just flying over to Bermuda and that was a kind of a deal breaker because then all of a sudden I thought London is far, but it's not. And now I've gone to Bermuda. Jesus, I can go like literally anywhere.
So what was the food like? What was one of your first positions?
So I got there as a chef de partie. My enthusiasm imploded really quickly because most of the seafood was actually brought in from the US frozen. And to live in an island, a paradise island, and find that out on the spot was devastating to my little chef ego and my pursuing this crazy career of mine. I just could not get over it. So on and off, there's just not enough seafood to supply all the resort. I mean, effects, period. Okay, so if anybody goes over there, you think you're having super fresh seafood, just fresh caught in the morning. No, it's not happening. Some stuff did arrive. So I remember, if you look at my second cookbook, there's a massive picture inside the chapter of Bermuda, and at the back cover, there's me as a 21 years old young Luca holding by the tail two fresh tunas. So at the age of 21, I've never filleted a whole tuna ever. So when they gave it to me and I started garde manger as a chef de party, they gave me the tuna. I think it was literally the first week or the first day or whatever. And surely I said, they dump it on my table, say, mate, you got to clean this up. And not for a second I thought I can't do it, because I know how to do it. I've never done. It's the same thing like with a smaller, same family type of fish. But I've never done it. And I remember I had to like jump. I was actually, it looks like I was pumping the tuna from the back. I went up with my legs and I was going with the knife. And eventually I did a hell of a job, luckily, but that was the first time I've ever cleaned like a whole tuna.
So I remember in that same cookbook that you're talking about, you had very long hair too.
Yeah, I had
dreadlocks.
Back then.
Far out.
I had dreadlocks going over there. I was pretend to be one of the locals, and they didn't like that because a white man with that type of hair wasn't really welcome. So it was quite divided, the black and the whites over there. So it was kind of new and uncomfortable for me. Italy, maybe now there's a little bit of that going on, but I grew up in a very, we're all the same, you know what I mean? Like I never really heard about racism until actually going over there sort of towards me. I've been discriminated before because of my tattoos and my piercing and long hair and a chef and that style, especially now it's rock and roll type of look, right? Back then you got long hair, you're not. Like my teacher at school. In my school, my teacher always told me I would have never amount to anything because I had long hair. And I was like, well, I wish I could actually sit down with him right now. But I spoke to someone that knows that he's still alive, obviously, not teaching anymore, but he's like, I can find him for you. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. But yeah, so the experience in Bermuda was, fantastic as a youngster, maybe too young to have that level of experience, short staff, always working, never a day off. I thought I was going to go there and I don't even know what I was hoping for to find in the kitchen and outside the kitchen. All I knew that I worked like a dog.
So what was your pathway to Australia?
So coming back from Bermuda, I lasted a year. I just made it like a year CV. Ran back London. And again, this man was such an amazing mentor. And he said, look, there would always be a job for you here anytime, especially big hotels back then. They could make a position even if they had it. In a heartbeat, went back to London. As I go back to London, we are approaching, it was 1999. So we're approaching Sydney 2000. So a couple of Kiwis and Aussies working in London, of course, they're everywhere. And one of these guys, after I think I would have talked about Bermuda, and I felt like a bit of a failure, like not me as a failure, but the trip was a fail. I thought I was going to go there and do God knows what. I felt almost like I lost a year, professionally speaking, because I was almost away on top of my role as a chef de party, not teaching other people, but I wasn't learning. And at that age, Jesus, like you just need to learn every single freaking day, right? To climb up the ladder. So I went back to London and one of those Aussie guys like, well, why don't you apply now? Like they're looking for a gazillion amount of chefs. Yeah. Surely you with your young
the Olympics, wasn't it?
Yeah. Say no more. I've applied to the Hilton, the Sheraton on the Park, and maybe the Four Seasons. Yeah, possibly. Too funny because I didn't tell anyone at that stage that I did that. But executive sous chef, which has been there forever since the day I got to London at the age of 17, was still there. And I remember during service, he just the phone goes off. He goes in the office and he goes, "Luca, it's for you." And then I just went, middle of service, right? So I left my section. I'm walking. I know exactly what I'm like. Gee, I put down this place as a reference, whatever. So they're ringing for that reason. Yep. And he comes out to me. He goes, you little shit. Did you just apply for a job in Australia? And I went, like, we were in such a good relationship. But yeah, I must have gone either white already in my face. And I'm like, yeah, chef, sorry. Like, just go inside and shut the door, you little shit. But he said that with a bigger smile, right? He wasn't upset by far. And yeah, I sat
And
down
you got
and
on a plane?
I had the interview. I think there was another 2 more interviews after that. Literally jumped on a plane, landed to go to Australia. And yet again, me being never happy with anything, Australia 26 years ago, gastronomically speaking, is not what it is today, right?
Mhm.
So landed at the hotel with the best, sort of dream and wishes. I was only 23. And again, I get dumped in the brasserie, doing 300 covers for lunch, dinner, flipping burgers and steaks, and massive seafood buffet. Yeah.
If there's one thing I know about you, and we've known each other a very long time, is you say yes and you deal with it. Like you're not afraid. Like what I've experienced with you is you just you grab the world by the horns. You really you figure things out, and you take on challenges always with a smile, and always with the heart in the right place.
It's beautiful to hear it from someone that knows you, because yes, that's the answer. But if I was to describe myself, I'm not like that normally.
Oh.
But without doing that, there is no growth.
Mhm.
I have never had any growth by not putting myself not in a dangerous position.
Vulnerable.
But yes, because I'm not gonna, it's so cool to tell friends and family you're going to Australia. I was shitting myself.
Mhm.
You're by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm 23. I come from an amazing little area just outside the river system in Milan. My hood, beautiful little parks and little lakes, and a very, very cozy environment, but yet is the hood of Milan. And I've seen things. We were part of things growing up. So I'm saying no more. I'm gonna get in trouble. But I felt like a street kid.
Mhm.
So, before you were trying to steal my money in the street late at night or whatever, yeah, good luck, because I could see you coming from miles. And I've had all that kind of trying to be smart guy attitude all my life, a little bit as a protection, like to try to be always aware of what's happening.
Mhm.
My mom always supported all my life story, my career, but always told me, be careful. You're like, yeah, mom, like whatever. And I've applied that with a little bit of arrogance, try to be confident.
Mhm.
Definitely there is some inner confidence that probably still today at 48 I'm not aware that I have.
Mhm.
But I gave you the story of the tuna. There would have been nothing wrong for me to say I've never really filleted a tuna. Can somebody show me? Because I got the skills, but I've never really done a tuna. Would have been nothing wrong with that.
But you jumped right in.
No, but not because I needed to lie or I'm a liar, because I'm not. But I feel like I can freaking do it. Like
Yeah.
what's going to stop me to jump on
Yeah.
the bloody thing and do it? There are still some projects that we take on in these days that I'm not maybe feeling as comfortable as something that I've done all my life. Some consultancy jobs that we're doing these days. We're doing restaurant takeovers. We're looking at opening restaurants in Vietnam. I'm not sure if I spoke to you about that project, which hopefully is coming up. Some of those things I'm quite capable. I'm capable of doing anything, but some you feel a bit more comfortable or stronger. But there is a little bit of inner self belief that, yeah, you can do everything. I don't, and I think that attitude has always allowed me to climb the ladder in the chef hierarchy. Like if you really wait to be super ready for it, it's too late. And I relate to somebody that took me months and months to do the bloody packaging of a pasta sauce, and I'll be, the chef OCD 1 millimeter high, down the capital letter, bigger, smaller. I remember somebody saying, "Mate, just freaking launch the product. Like, you figure it out. Like just freaking go for it. Otherwise, you're never gonna do it." And I think that sometimes it's like that even in the kitchen. Not lie your way through it. Just say yes, getting that thing. Like nobody's gonna die. Just worst case scenario, a shit nice service. They put you back where you were before, type of thing.
Exactly.
And I think that is definitely me putting myself in an uncomfortable position has definitely allowed a lot of growth, big time.
And I mean, seriously, from when you started with those 4 sauces
Would have never thought.
at the farmer's market,
Never thought.
I think I was doing the tours. Stella was there. Your wife was
Yep.
there. And you guys have always been like hustling and working really, really hard. But what you've got behind you is you've got incredible talent. You've got incredible talent. And that's I think that's why your snowball or empire or what have you is just growing. And you've got lots of cheerleaders like me and Lucy and all of us just,
Thank you. Thank you,
really,
Tanya.
really
It's almost
applauding you.
emotional to hear it because and you're such a go-getter yourself. You know what I mean? Like I know we here, I'm the guest, but I don't know. I think it's a bit the good old chef DNA that never goes away. You know, before you've asked me how I transition, I'll do this very quickly. I was talking about the Westing, and then eventually I wasn't happy for whatever happened, and then an opportunity came about to become the corporate chef for the largest Italian food company out of Italy. Without mentioning name, people can search it out, and that's it. They made me understand that there is a job for us outside of the kitchen. And all of a sudden I found out that I can talk forever. You know how yappa, 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 I can go on for hours for this. I somehow learned, thanks to them, on how to sort of use the cooking as a vehicle, as a storytelling to promote their products. So when it came my turn, wow, I was million years ahead because I've done it for others for so long. And because I was so good doing it for them, other brands approached me like, can you endorse our product? And luckily for me, my the good compliments I'm taking that you just attribute to me, myself, and I guess the best part for me is when new brands approach us and they describe me as a very authentic person, very professional, hardworking. And I think that has translated over so many years of me just having the blinkers on, push, work. Results have come back. People have invested in me with their brands, and they've definitely had their returns because most of them are still paying me today decent bucks to do what I do for them. So there's definitely a return on their behalf.
You are a very good educator.
I think, I tell you, again, I'll take it that I'm good. And I know because I've, from now, it's been almost 15 years of this chef, communicator, whatever you want to call me. You learn how to develop a routine. I mean, you're a great communicator yourself.
Oh.
So I'm sure that from whenever the first time you've done it, 5, 10, 20 years ago, today you build that confidence. You know how to look at the crowd. You see when they're about to fall asleep or not. You can see who's really engaged or not. You want to throw in the right joke at the right time. I want to be the authority on the meta.
Mhm.
I'm not a joker. I'm not a clown. I want to entertain people. But we do have people that we know in common. Some are amazing chefs and not necessarily fantastic communicator, are amazing communicator, but they might not have such a big skill set as some of the other chefs. I think I've got that good balance, and I've been blessed along with it that I am able, you just mentioned the one and only, the king of Italian cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano. I mean, Jesus, when you do that routine, how as an Italian, it's like wearing the jersey and going play the World Cup. Probably is the worst time to mention now because we haven't played one in the last 12 years. But technically, that used to be my sentence to go to.
Yes.
It's like, gee, you're representing the most iconic cheese out of Italy, one of the most renowned cheeses around the world, and the second best, and not before or after it, is the consortium of Prosciutto di Parma. So when people have enabled me to have that role, I'm like, holy moly! Like, would you have ever believed that I'm the guy that goes around educating the crowds? And forget about getting money. It's really a true pleasure to educate young chefs, Italian chefs, because people think you're Italian, you're meant to know it all. It's bull. Like I'm not better than any of those other chefs that don't know as much as Prosciutto Parmigiano. I've had the super luxury that for a decade I've been working with these people.
Mhm.
So my insight into that product is just insane. But again, doesn't make me any better than you as a chef. I just have that level of insight.
So what is one of your favorite recipes to demonstrate when you're doing a masterclass like that? I remember your
Wow.
risotto. I remember your Parmesan crisps.
Gee, it's really, you brought up risotto, and a lot of friends of my colleagues, they take the piece out of me. They're like, gee, you always cook your risotto. Like I can't cook anything else. But it's such a great storytelling because my dad comes from a rice field, just about an hour drive from Milan, towards the edge of the region of Piedmont. We grew up on risotto. Most every Italian grows up on pasta. But rice, you grow up on rice if you're in certain areas. And being from Milano, from the regional area, you eat a lot of rice. Sadly, Dad passed away. I was only 3 years old, but he would have put into my mom's mentality that it's all about the rice. So I remember growing up without really understanding why we had 5 different varieties of rice at any given time in the bloody pantry. And my brother, we're still fighting over mom, unfortunately, as you know, passed away a couple of years ago. And we're trying to fight over some things that mom left behind, and not jewelry. I'm after mom had this rotating little plasticky container made out of 5 wedges, and they will complete in a round circle, like a round thing that will spin. And each wedge had a different rice in it.
Luca, can you give me just off the top a just Rockstar risotto recipe?
Look, the one to keep, I'm going to give you the risotto Milanese, right? I'm from Milano. That's what I'm giving you. So you need the best quality saffron the money can buy, best carnaroli rice. I'm not going to give you the brand or buy the age one, whatever. A very good carnaroli. Can't find it, get the best arborio variety that we all know about, but carnaroli superfino is what you're meant to use for the best risotto making. And the bone marrow. The real risotto Milanese starts with the marrow, okay? So traditionally, as any recipe, even in my cookbooks, it'll be a little bit of onions, finely chopped, a little bit of olive oil or butter, depending if you're north or south of Italy. Cook them down, and then you toast your rice. In these days, which has been going on maybe for over a decade, we do dry toasting for the rice, meaning that forget about what I just told you, the onions, the oil, the butter. You dry toast your rice. This is sort of to really allow the ingredient to shine in the best possible way. But you only want to do it if you got the best quality product. Otherwise, it's pointless. If you do the dry toasting, if you've never done it, please do it at home. It's actually quite cool. Like you literally just get a casserole, you dump your rice, and you keep stirring it, and you toasting your rice. And, I've never done it until I did it maybe a decade ago, and you start smelling the cereal. And it's amazing, like the smell of rice, not as in just from the packet. It just takes such a very unique aroma that gets volatile all the way up your nose.
It's also quite sweet, isn't it?
I don't know. You get sweetness. You get some different side of I don't know. It reminds me to be as a kid in summer in rice field. That kind of where it brings me back. But it's definitely a lot of different notes going up your nose. And once you really start smelling the cereal, you're going to go in with your white wine and then followed by stock. Back in the days, chef used to say, just put your hands in it, move it around. When you burn your fingers, that means it's hot enough to go. You go in with your dry white wine, any wine, like don't lose sleep over whatever. Don't open $1 million bottle, but don't use cheap and nasty. If it's not good enough to drink, not good enough for cooking. Stock goes in, chicken stock. I'd like to believe that back in the days would have always been chicken stock, but they say vegetable stock, light stock. In these days, I've learned to literally lower the strength of the stock. Even though I always say good stock makes a good risotto, it's very true. But you want to do very, very much justice to the quality of rice as much as the quality of the saffron and the quality of the stock. So a very light stock to allow the quality of the rice to come through. And it's very simple, meaning that a good carnaroli will cook within 16 to 18 minutes. For people like us, Italian, especially from the north, we like it really al dente. So for me, it's 14 to 16 minutes. Keep cooking your rice by stirring it occasionally. So all of this stress of stir, it's rubbish. Good quality rice will always release just amount of starch, right amount of starch to make it creamy, and it will just absorb the right amount of liquid. When you get a rice risotto that ends into a congee, that ain't a good risotto. When you got a risotto that's very watery, whatever, the grain of rice must have been rubbish. So sometimes it's not you actually not doing a good job. It's actually the rice being pretty rubbish. Always cook your rice covered with stock. Boiling stock is a must. You always want the grain of rice to keep cooking. And what I normally do for people that don't cook risotto often, I always suggest to put 10 to 12 minutes timer from the beginning. When the alarm goes off, that's where you go into, not panic mode, you go into, all right, let's stop talking to the wife or chasing the kids, the dog. Give me a minute, all right? So you start tasting a little bit of the liquid, the stock, and the grain of rice. Grain of rice tells you how far it is, and the liquid tells you the flavor that you got going on. So if you need a pinch of salt or a little bit of extra stock, whatever it is, keep cooking with the smallest amount of stock. Because if you put too much stock and the rice is ready, you're going to end up with a rice soup, right? You're always in time to add a little bit of stock at the end. And once that comes together, remove that from the heat, where you still got a pretty good, decent bite to your liking. Doesn't have to be to my liking. And as I always say to people in demonstration, close your eyes. A hell of a lot of very good quality unsalted butter and Parmigiano Reggiano. So the actual ratio of quantities of cheese and butter, it's a fair amount. But of course, I gave you more the risotto. Being risotto alla Milanese, you just have to add the bone marrow at the get-go before you're toasting the rice, or you can even add it after the final part of the toasting so that the marrow gets to cook a little bit with it. And of course, great quality saffron. A lot of it. It's going to be yellow, golden yellow.
Well, it's interesting with the saffron industry because we are growing the yield is increased, and we are growing a lot of saffron, as you know, in Tasmania, and
Yeah.
we grow it in New South Wales and also Victoria, and it's great to see in Australia that industry
And there's so many
thriving.
other industries, right, where people were really looking into doing something like that. And I think over the
Yes.
last decade or so, so many been popping up. Amazing farmers that have had the opportunity of working the land, maybe in a very wine way direction, and then finding out, oh, we can grow trees as well. We can grow that. Either being advised from chef or getting to know people like you guys that are such a great advocate for all the local produce that we have in this amazing country of ours, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's just, going back to me landing 26 years ago and generally complaining because I thought, like, where the hell did I go? After here, I wanted to go to Japan and Tokyo, New York as a dream to work. And I had a 2-year visa, and I actually left after a year. I just didn't like it. I mean, I loved Australia, but gastronomically speaking, not a chance. Like,
Yes.
I felt we were so advanced in Europe, which we were, without a doubt. So
But
luckily,
haven't we come a long way now when you
oh
think
my God.
back
And I'm
the
so
last
glad that I have
Yes.
left, but I picked up the little souvenir, which now is called Georgia, my wife.
Yes.
So if it wasn't for Georgia, I don't think probably I would have come back because we went back to kind of Italy, but then we went back to London. She hated London, it was grey and cold. And I think after 2 years and a half, we got married very quickly. And she said, mate, like, we got to go back to Oz because I'm not, like, I love your countries in Italy, but the opportunity for her without speaking the language was zero.
Mhm.
So we did attempt like 5-6 months in Italy, came back to Australia, and in Australia has been such a great opportunity. Like, I'd work my ass off, as you pointed out, which makes me very proud to hear. So nobody has given me anything for free, but Jesus Christ, Australia has been the land of opportunity for me. Has really laid it all out for me.
And how has being a husband and a father to your beautiful Stella, how has that kind of helped you make choices in your career? Are there some that you have made that you would have alternatively made differently had they not been in your life?
Yeah, 100%. I think I would have been even more OCD about my job. I'm definitely a workaholic. I am addicted to my job. I'm addicted to the lifestyle that my job. I do believe that our industry provides one of the best job and lifestyle of certain areas in the world, and at the same time, on the contrary, makes it one of the worst job on the planet because dictates the hours, and we work when people parties and the other way around. Um, yeah, I think it would have been a bit different, but I guess Stella was just a blessing. You as a parent yourself, I think any parent will agree that you tend to start doing stuff for them and thinking of them. But then at the same time, as you get that, luckily I was doing well to a degree before Stella. I always felt I started working when I was 14 in kitchens, and I always just worked and not saved as in saving money, but I never really, you travel as a chef, you travel. I mean, what do you want to buy? You just go out with the boys on a weekend and having a few beers, and that's about it. So money's never really been the drive for any job that I've ever gotten. Love money like any other next person, but it's never really been the drive, and luckily is not today. When Stella was born, I felt that sense of responsibility, but I've also had that it is more sharing my personal side. I've lost that was 3 years old. I don't remember much of him, and I don't know what having a father is like. And I had a super mom that was a mom and a father, and I always wanted to. I built in my little brain that I had to be there 24/7. Not that because I thought I was going to drop dad. Dad passed away, was 41 years old, poor man. But I feel like any chance I have, I had to invest it with my daughter. And already when Stella was born, I was already on that 13 years ago. I was already a flying chef. I remember I felt like the worst, like a shit that I think she was 6 weeks old, and I went to a week in India for a cooking tour. Holy shit. Like, she was only eating and pooping, right? As they do. But I felt terrible. I felt
Yeah.
terrible. And Stella doesn't know any different. That dad is there or that is not there. But when dad is there, I can proudly say that, because date nights, I take her on travel, on working trips with me, like last weekend in Melbourne. I don't know. I guess compulsively, I do so much more to compensate. But then you learn that it's for you. So it's really for me. She's now she's 13, like, daddy, like, off you go. Like, I don't even want to go out for dinner with you anymore. So it's really me obsessively wanting to spend the most time with my daughter rather than the other way around.
So what's something that she's taught you? What's a bit of a sense checker that she's like, does she remind you of something that, that just kind of brings you back to center?
I'd like to, it would take me too long to go really deep, because actually nobody has ever asked me. A lot of people like you and I know each other through work and other events, and people know Stella. Nobody's ever asked me what Stella has taught me. I don't really have the right. I don't even want to say something for the sake of it. But I tell you what I see in her. I see a lot of me. She's just pissing me off. She's 13, going 35. And you're a woman, so you might know what that period was like in your life. I don't, because I'm a boy. And I got my wife and Stella. It's 2 against 1. The more every single thing that I was kind of complaining about, holy crap, I just see myself so much. She's so strong, which is the positive thing. She won't take no for an answer. Reminds me of somebody else. She always got something to say. Someone else. She always had to leave the last sentence. That was me at school with and I'm like, she's really a mini me.
And she's got that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, well, I guess if that lasts her, definitely she picked that up from mom and daddy. You pointed out, I think the very first few times you saw us at the market, she would have been, 4 or 5 years of age. And she doesn't know any better. We used to wake her up on that Saturday morning at 5 o'clock, and either she liked it or not, she had to come with us. Cold in winter and under the rain, under the gazebo. She was sitting there with a tablet or whatever the hell she was doing back then. And then, if you remember, I think it was back 5 years ago, she started making a little loom band bracelet that she started selling. And she sold.
I've got a few of them in my jewelry box.
Yes, you were one of the very first customers, Tonya. I remember you rocked up and people followed. And then she, these are the things where she surprised me, even back then. Actually, you just brought me to, she would have been 8 years old when she started. And then from even now that she's 13, we do not as many events in these days. My fault, because too much travel and whatnot. But when we do these events, she still likes to make them. And a normal kid at that age is on the phone, which she is as well. But if she goes through one event to the other one, she will make us go to a Spotlight or whatever she buys, the loom bands. We'll just get to go home, and she would just spend a week or two prior to the event just making loom bands. So she doesn't touch the phone, the iPad, the TV, whatever. She's focused. So I'll say, Daddy's got the night off. Shall we watch a movie together? Sorry, I got to work. And I'm like, what? You're like, I got to make loom bands. The Italian Festa is coming up, Ferragosto. So now she's going to make the Italian flag. And now she's panicking because she doesn't have the color. Now she's got the color. And now already a couple of times she said, I'm busy, Daddy, I'm making the loom bands.
So is there scope within the Luca Ciano brand for Stella to have perhaps an offering?
Definitely not with the bracelet. But about a year ago, she was so that serious about this bloody bracelet. And I was trying to explain politely that most people buy it because they know her or they know me and they get to her. And their plasticky bracelet, and I actually did say that there's a couple of big retailers of ours asked me, when are you launching anything sweet? Like, you don't have a bakery range, because we do from pasta, from this to that, so technically we can play as a chef for any category if I want to. And I've been wanting to do it, but no time or not, just need the right excuse. So I brought that idea to Stella and I said, listen, we got this opportunity. There's a couple of the big guys out there would be very interested in that is sort of cookie something, Italian cookies. How about you and I will create a bakery range, a cookie range, Italian style, but not necessarily mainly because of Daddy, but we can do whatever we want. How about we'll brand it Stella, whatever name you want. It'll be under the umbrella of Daddy's business. I said, I'll invest in it to make it happen. We'll start selling it. I want to get 50% back of my money that I've invested. And from that moment on, it's going to be hours business, and you can start making money out of it. And I'm kind of late because this should have not already happened, but within this year I told her that it was meant to happen. And look, I don't want to give numbers now, but if we are really to launch it within this year, and she's still 13, by the time is 18, she will be sitting on a pretty serious little toy if she wants to do it, because I know how passionate she is like me, and the idea that maybe she falls so hard into that business type of thing. Because I love what I do, Tanya, but there's so much more than business in life that we don't get to do. And I know I'm saying this because I'm getting old. Yeah, working is not everything. I'm learning that a little bit too late in my journey, but oh my God.
Maybe she'll find that sweet spot. The younger generation, they do look at things quite differently. And, she's very intuitive. So perhaps she will find that sweet balance where she can have that growth and challenge and also enjoy it and have fun with it and not miss out on being a kid.
I really hope so. Or at least we'll try to put him in the right direction, and then whatever happens, right?
Yeah. We haven't even talked about the TV show. We haven't talked about your food tours much. So in terms of the full offering, let's back up again and recap, shall we? So under your brand, you're doing events, you're doing ambassadorship for brands, and you've got your 2 books, 2 cookbooks, and you've also got your range, and then you've got your food tours. Now, I'm not kidding. I'm living precariously through you as you're going to these amazing, extraordinary producers in Italy. Is that a space you want to expand on even further?
No, and I know you're gonna hate me. You're gonna throw a cup at me.
You're going to say, I'm not doing it anymore. Doors closed.
No, darling, you see what I want you to see. Let me try to let's restart. Let's restart it one more time. The tour are bloody amazing. I partnered with a dear couple, a friend of mine from Murchison, Victoria, wine producers. The way they went out was, they don't do that for a living. I don't do that for a living. It's almost like a fun thing. It just gets our asses to Italy. Back in the days, for me, it was more, I get to see mom and whatnot. In these days, has turned more into, okay, it's an extra 2 weeks of travel. It's a business thing, so I go home. I still get to enjoy it. But keep in mind, when I look like a bit silly saying, I'm not as enthusiastic as before, because as you know, everything you've listed I do, that doesn't stop when I go on tour. Yeah. So all my friends take the mickey out of me, like I wish I had your job, but they have no idea. So obviously, I'm landing there with all the jet lag and whatnot. Besides, after a couple of days, I see the family, and I generally get to enjoy a couple of days off. You get on tour,
but your mind's always going.
Well, not only that, darling. We got, we wake up in the morning with a ton of emails, and Australia is lunchtime or towards the end of the day, and I've got important email to attend. You've got issues, you got problems, warehouse, delivery, orders. Now we got international sales. You got a wife, you got a daughter. So yeah, I'm not capable, or we're nowhere near to a level where you can just go on tour and forget about it all. So it just makes it challenging, but at the same time, I'm not stupid. I am blessed. I am extremely privileged to get the opportunity to take 20 people, and it turns out always to be the most amazing human beings that come on those tours, and you feel very privileged that they generally invested their own money, and they're giving you their times for you to show them what's going on, and you build those friendship, long-lasting friendship, and that's one of the amazing things that you've listed as that we do. So look, we always joke, Guido, Sandra, and I, that as long as we want to do those tours, I think we can keep doing them until the rest of our days. But I don't think there's any more than just once a year. We're going to keep it to once a year, 20 people. I go home regardless, but it's an extra trip that I get to go home, either in these days for business as well, because I do a lot of dealings with Italy. Still got family there, beside mom and dad not being there, obviously, but there's still family there. So it's a very, very good opportunity to go and do what I do. I mean, it's amazing.
Do you ever feel like, this is just too much? I maybe make a decision to just close one stream down?
You've touched a super, super important subject of where I'm at with my life. Mental health, sorry, not illness, mental health. I did a bit of a mini breakdown maybe a couple of years ago. I didn't really have the breakdown, but I was going towards it. And luckily I spotted it. And luckily I spoken openly to my wife, my manager, Remy. We spoke about it. It got triggered when, unfortunately, Johnson Freelo took his life. And I was reading a lot, and I'm like, shit, like not that I was ever near to do anything myself, but when you can't really breathe, the way overall it can really bring you down. And there is the anxiety of performance. I've been able to talk to you since the day I met you forever, right? You just gotta tell me to shut up, otherwise I keep going. But yet you put me on stage either in front of a small presentation to train a distributor with 20 sales rep, or in front of an audience of the biggest one I've ever done to date is 3,000 people in Taiwan. I know what I'm talking about. I know I'm capable of it. I know I'm comfortable, but yet you go to bed and something's playing with your head. You want to make sure it's like cooking that dish in a restaurant. It's got to be perfect. So it's up to your brain to wanting to put that level of importance to it, or let it just go like, oh, it's just another gig. And I've always put so much into everything I do from the bottom of my heart. It took its toll. The flying that you jokingly say, oh gee, you ever, and it's kind of, I wear it like a badge, right? Oh, I traveled the world, I worked so hard. But we've exceeded 40 odd flights for the last 3 or 4 years in a row. I mean, I've been flying the hell out of it for the last 15 years. We're talking about maybe 40 odd flights, where maybe 15 are international. And I know because but if I take you back, and we don't have time to take you back from February, I've basically been on flight nonstop from international and locally. You don't really get to even leave the moment because you're already, my brain,
moved ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm already stressing because I'm not even thinking of what I'm actually going to do there because I'm there. I'm already thinking that I'm gonna catch the flight tomorrow at 2 p.m. I gotta leave the guys. Well, actually, the last one I'm talking about, Nusa, not even a month ago. I just landed from Hong Kong, Taiwan, 24 hours, go to Nusa, catch up with the guys, talked about the menu. Some of the prep was done. I did some of the others. We do the event, and it was me, Guy Grossi, Adriano Zumbo, Andrea Ravezzani. And everybody knew because we talked before, but it was pathetic. I had to leave after my pasta course. The car was waiting for me because I had to go back to Sydney because I had a day for my anniversary with my wife. I didn't want to miss that. And then at 3 a.m. I had a wake-up call to fly to Italy for the tour. So, but this is a little glimpse of what it is for me most of the year. And I don't think any other chef that does a little bit of what I do, they experience the same. Any businessman that travels with export reason is the same. And not that I'm comparing myself to the real Rockstar, but when I think of the real Rockstar, meaning from Metallica to Taylor Swift, the idea of what they do and how they do it. And as a kid, I thought, gee, I wish I had their job. The hell no. Like it's gotta be a shit life with perks, but it's not a normal life. I never dreamed a 9 to 5, and yet today I wouldn't last a minute on a 9 to 5. But it comes to a point where I was able a couple of years ago to say, oh, Jesus, we've grown this so much. And unfortunately or fortunately, it's all around me, myself, and I. Because, yet the product range got my name on it. So when you get a new gig with Singapore now that we just did this exclusive deal with a massive retailer, guess what? The first to do is, when is Luca coming to Singapore to support us? I can't send one of my guys. They want Luca to go store to store, not to the 30 store. They'll pick their best flagship store, 3, 4, 5 of them, meet and greet, signing books, doing all of these, which is amazing. And I know that people kill for that. I never dreamed of that part. I dreamed of the idea that I created a product that is so successful, that is sold, and people are interested as far as Singapore that they want to buy. That's the real kickback that I get, beside the financial that comes with it.
So have you created tools to give yourself time out?
Yes.
To delegate, to put systems around you? I am
still working really hard in it's like a kitchen. You cannot expect the team to cook the same way you do unless you teach them how. Simple as that. So the best things I've ever done, talking about money, me not really being after money, I've invested a lot of money over the last 2 or 3 years in getting more stuff. Right. So you need more stuff. I am investing time in training into where I want them. And again, certain things will never be are irreplaceable. Not because I'm so good at it, because it's me, right? I have to be physically there myself. But there's a million other things that I used to do. And if I tell you what I was doing at my level even 3 years ago, you will call me you're a freaking idiot. Because to do what I was doing, not because I had to save money, because I had it within me that I'll be landing in Hong Kong and, I'll be raising invoice for whatever. Will be chasing payments, or I was having anything that has nothing to do with where Luca can generally add value. So removing myself from the business, number one, spending money in having the right people around me that can support the business day to day. I have an amazing little family. My wife is supporter number one. We got this, Georgia, so we got this love and hate. Like, she can't wait for me to piss off again for another few weeks. She misses me, come back after 2 days. Mate, when is your next flight? And so that kind of worry, but she's very supportive. She helps me. I have a great circle of friends. I have started spending time with W Now, which is a male group. It's to create awareness for men suicide mainly, but mental health. I don't just go enough because of my travel. So I think I'm doing a lot of good things towards it. It comes at a cost, but as much as you were, listen, I see what you've done since the day we met. You have not stopped. I don't think I work any harder than you or anybody else in this room. I just I'm a little bit more out there for people to see what I do.
Yeah.
They trust me. I choose what I want people to see. But I always claim that I don't think I work any harder than anybody else that is in it to win it. But the design of the fabric of my own life and work and whatever makes it extremely unique and 24/7 type of job. But we'll find some way to.
I think it's a beautiful tapestry. You're weaving this beautiful tapestry. Now, would you be up for some quick fire?
Go for it.
All right. Coffee or Aperol?
Coffee.
Name 5 foods we'll find in your fridge.
Dark chocolate, Nutella, Parmigiano Reggiano, Prosciutto di Parma. I gotta give you something very unusual. I'm trying to think what would I have? Wine. I don't know. That sucked. But anyway, next.
That's an honest answer,
Yeah.
so that's good. Favorite Italian city to eat at?
I'm gonna get shot. The hell with it, Milan.
One chef you'd love to cook with or for?
It will be Gualtiero Marchesi in Italy, the first Italian chef to own 3 Michelin star. I was a kid when he was still Gualtiero Marchesi, and by the time I sort of got into my career, he was well past and of course passed away. But he's the grandfather of Italian modern cuisine.
What's one thing that is always in your carry-on?
A little Minions that my daughter bought me because I love Minions.
If you could only make one pasta for the rest of your life, what is it?
Pasta, pomodoro, basilico e parmigiano. Spaghetti, tomato sauce, fresh tomato, basil and Parmigiano Reggiano.
Well, in closing, is there a thought you would like to leave our listeners with?
Well, if anybody that didn't even know who I was or whatnot, I'm sure plenty. Once they do maybe a little bit of research, and if they might get to be inspired a little bit of someone being a chef that has been able to, climb a little bit the ladder. Anybody can do it. And to do it even better than me, get together a better plan than the one that I had. Because follow your dream, but a dream without a plan, it stays a dream for a very long time. So I wish I put a bit of a plan a little bit earlier along with my dream, and that would have got me there much earlier. So dream big, but don't forget to have a little bit of a plan on how to get there.
Thank you so much for spending the time with us. Keep on keeping on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me so much. To you guys, it's been wonderful. Love our friendship. And I know for every question I go in different direction, but there's so much in my head boiling at the same time. But again, thanks for the invite. And I hope the listeners have enjoyed this episode.
I have no doubt they will.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening in. We hope you enjoyed the conversations.
And a special thank you to Seaway Logistics for their partnership in this series, where leadership meets the future of food.